Is there a modern buyer journey that is changing how marketing can be done today? In November 2022, ChatGPT launched and it went viral. By January 2023, ChatGPT had over 100 million users, making it one of the fastest growing apps ever. There's been an evolution of how people use generative AI. Firstly, people were just curious, how does this thing work? So the types of questions were more asking to gather information. By the second phase, it was more or less the utility phase, using it to be more productive and also to streamline work that they probably would have needed to do manually. So, for example, revamp my resume based on this information that I've done, meal prepping, travel itineraries, and just life advice in general. Now, at the phase 3 of generative AI use, people are trusting it more to recommend products to them and give them advice on which products to use, and also validate claims that brands are making to make sure that they align with the things that they want to do and what their goal is for the purchase. So the phase of generative AI use has evolved over time, and now buyers are incorporating it deeply into the decisions they make. And this is leading to marketers asking questions like, how do we get our brands visible where it matters the most? Or how do we understand the percentage of people that even care about using generative AI to make some buying decisions? And is it something that we should be evaluating, creating strategies to reach those audiences where they are too? There's also the dilemma of the range of generative AI tools that are available. Initially, ChatGPT was at the forefront of that conversation, but now we have other generative AI tools like Gemini, Claude, Copilot, and the amount of people who use each one of them has varied from time to time, with ChatGPT taking the larger share initially, but now this usage has diversified to other products. So marketers are also in a dilemma of, do they need to tailor their strategy to different generative AI types, or is there a strategy that cuts across each one of these generative AI tools? So in this video, I'm going to break it down into two. What you should keep in mind as a buyer and what you should keep in mind as a marketer as this shift is happening. As a buyer, you probably have this question: how does AI recommend brands to me? I'll break it down into three things. First, what it has learned from the internet. Secondly, what it has retrieved in real time. Thirdly, how it ranks trust, consistency, and relevance to your question. And then it goes ahead to prefer answers. So let's go ahead to break it down. It starts with a large language model. Tools like ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini are powered by large language models, or at least have a substantial part of it use LLMs. Now, these LLMs do not have these products stored in a database and just retrieve them. No, they actually make recommendations based on the data that they have learned and predict the most useful answers. With that, they're able to predict where does this brand rank in terms of authority, relevance to your question. In the LLM's mind, it's actually just thinking of the fact that it wants to give you the best information to the question that you've just asked. Secondly, it learns from massively trained data. So it's deducing from things like websites, blogs, reviews. So when you ask it that question, for example, what's the best headphone under $200? Immediately it starts to deduce based on this different information. And for example, maybe someone had asked something similar on Reddit at some point, recommendations on there, and different other sources to aggregate and figure out what would be the best couple of options to give to you, to also minimize the range of choices, which, for example, Google will probably give you a number of links for you to go through. It's trying to predict the best answer to you based on the information that it has learned from, and streamline your choices, not giving you a ton of them, except let's say you ask for more. Thirdly, retrieval, or RAG, pulling from fresh information. Modern AI is not just using trained data, it's also pulling from fresh information. So for example, what are the conversations that are currently happening within the line of the question that this person asked, as opposed to only working with the data that it has been trained on. And you know that this training might have happened at a period of time, but also retrieving in real time information that can help it to better predict the answer that you need. So in essence, it combines what it already knows with what it can fetch now and predict an answer for you. Fourth, ranking, and this is the most important part. AI is also making a judgment based on things like authority, sentiment, consistency, and it's using all of the information that it has been trained on and those that it's retrieving in the moment to make a judgment of if the recommendation that is going to be given to you suits the category of the question that you're asking. This is similar to SEO but different. Google ranks pages, AI ranks answers. AI is ranking ideas, not links. Some people will think that one is better than the other. I believe that it depends. I wouldn't consider one better than the other, right? Generative AI helps you narrow down your choices. Google gives you a range of pages for you to look through, for you to validate yourself and make the judgments yourself. Now with AI, it streamlines the amount of judgments that you have to make. It's great to research with generative AI because yes, it has a lot of context or even personalized information based on what you're giving it to make recommendations to you. But do not leave total judgment to generative AI. It's okay to still go further, maybe through the hyperlinks that it puts into the recommendations, to take a closer look, check YouTube videos, Instagram, go to the organization's website, or also do a Google search to not just leave judgments to AI, but also cross-validate and also use your human judgment as well. Now, we agree that generative AI helps to streamline choices, and in a lot of scenarios, the answer that it gives you just feels right for you in some way, but there's a big caveat there. For brands who have not just been able to maybe have the budget or the capacity or wherewithal to do as much visibility strategy as another brand has, in those cases, you see how probably might never find them through generative AI. But yeah, if you're a marketer, you should be watching to the next section because I'm going to talk you through how to refine your strategy to make sure that you're also in these conversations. So that's the last piece that I'm going to leave with you. So if you're someone who is enthusiastic about innovation, what's new, and wanting to get up to speed with this information, subscribe and be a part of this community that I'm building of lifelong learners and people who want to be up to date with innovations that are happening so that they are not left behind.